Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Giving, the best nonprofit podcast on the Boost Network. I'm Zach, the nonprofit guy, and today we've got a conversation with Jesse from DEVSA. Thanks so much for joining us on the show, Jesse.
Zach, happy to be here.
Definitely. So, let's start by telling us a little bit about what DEVSA actually is and what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because whenever I step outside this little tech bubble, they're like, "How do you pronounce it? Is that DEVSA? What is that thing? What you doing over there?"
Is it DEVSA?
It's DEVSA.
Okay, cool. I was like, is this a subtle, you pronounced it wrong?
The whole time. No, what it is in its current iteration, and one thing I've told people, and I definitely need to really fine tune the messaging even on our website, but the core focus is we are that one connector. So if you go to the DevSA channel, DevSA will lead you to all of the active other tech groups in the city. The beauty with the tech groups that are active in the city, they've really joined our mission. Our big mission was tech events, tech groups that were focused on learning and networking, on the tooling and the programming, versus events that were pretty much in the space when we entered, which was primarily sales-driven marketing. I mean, I always hear stories about a very active tech space before the pandemic. That was before my time here, but when we entered the space, there was a gap that needed to be filled, and we happily filled that, and that's who we are. So land the plane, Jesse. We try to make it easy for people to find a tech community, so you're not wasting time on Indeed on Meetup or Eventbrite.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So you basically are just connecting the tech community and the different events across the San Antonio area.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so we met, it was January, I think, of last year at a local startup boot camp, right? I'm almost positive that's where we
True.
met. And at the time, I think you were at the beginning stages of forming what is now DevSA, right? It was like Adobe something, I think was the original name. And then, oh, what was that?
You're so close, but it's amazing. It is funny. I look back at that picture, and there was an amazing cast of like entrepreneurs trying to get their journey started. Yeah, it's funny because I look back now, like I've been able to get to know a lot of people that were a part of that experience and are still on their journey now today. But what was it? It wasn't Devis A specifically. It was Digital Canvas, which is another
Yes.
passion project. Digital Canvas.
Okay.
So kind of same concept as far as focused on the learning and the networking, the tooling and the programming, but in the creative space. So we're talking, like you mentioned, the Adobe and the Figmas. And my big thing was like, no one's talking about how these creatives are using the tooling. And with all the AI updates happening now, it's like after that photographer captures that concert or that wedding or whatever, I wanted to focus in on their process on the computer. Are they using generative fill for video or whatnot? I just wanted to do that because all the very similar to the tech scene before DevSA entered, there was a lot of social. So like in the tech space, there was a Geeks and Drinks and a Data Nuts or Data Nerds, whatever they're called. But they were just socials and that's all it was. And I'd always hear feedback from people that would attend those and be like, yeah, somebody took off his shirt and was dancing on a table. Somebody pulled out the worm. So folks that were trying to find a tech community just couldn't find it. And when you look at the creative space, a lot of the events that I saw then and that I still see now, which is why, and we'll circle back to Digital Canvas because it's something that is coming full circle.
Well, when you start talking about Digital Canvas, and I remember I've always known you as that creative dude I met at boot camp, right? And so I was trying to think back to, because like you're pretty much known for DevSA now, right? And you've built quite a community in this last year and a half around that, and are really connecting everything. But I was trying to figure out where that label in my head came from, that creative dude, right? Other than like, I know you're good with like editing, and you designed the DevSA logo, right?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But so I'm glad I was able to like put that back together. But like, what is your background? Like, why are you the one that built this community DevSA that's working to kind of bring all of these different facets of tech in San Antonio together? Why is that you?
Yeah, it's a great question. One thing I've shared with many people is I'm probably the last person that should be the face of this thing. But And for that, a lot of it is just my personal journey, and I don't like to talk about the origin story of Jesse because it's not a very fun story. But ultimately, I guess the start of Devastate. Well, I guess my personal journey is like yeah. I mean, I grew up. I'm born and raised in San Antonio.
Wait,
Um,
an actual San
I'm
Antonian.
a San
That's a
Antonio.
thing?
I'm a San Antonian, and but yeah, I mean, it's there's a whole story of just growing up. I grew up West Side, Poor Side. I guess what they call now like those underserved communities, which are still a thing, and blah blah blah. But yeah, what's the term they use? Boodle San Antonio. Like I have a Boodle San Antonio story, having like a kid really young, sophomore in high school, stuff like that. So it's but anywho, land the plane dressing. I've always been labeled as a tech guy. I never worked in tech, but I was always, hey, can you fix this? Can you do this? And I was always that guy. As I got older and my work life balance in that space that I was in kind of became more easier to manage, more I guess organized. I started exploring. So my last job before this was I did sales at USAA, and USAA offered like tuition reimbursement. So like I was doing some intro to programming courses at the local community
Were
college.
you doing like Java or like
Yeah, it was
C
intro to
or
programming, so there was some yeah, it was Java. There was
nice.
we started flirting with some like JavaScript, but it's funny as I was in the second semester, pandemic hit, and all of us got sent home, and I was like, I'm too far in. I can't go back to talking to people and selling them stuff. It's like I was locked in, so
So that's what really launched like your direction,
yeah,
your how much time does Devastate consume, right? Of your time? Is that almost like a full-time job by itself?
it is, and I also work full time as a
Yep.
developer, so it's definitely I got to thank the family and the missus for being super patient, but
But so that really launched your complete like your pivot into pretty deep tech then,
it
right?
was. The joke I always say is I was flirting with 40 before I decided to make the switch to tech. I put in my 2 week notice at USAA. I took out money out of the 401k and I just kind of went all in. And I just hit the 3 year mark in the tech space in May,
Oh,
like a couple of weeks ago. So I'm still very early in my journey, which is some of the reason why I say like I should probably be the last person that's running Devastate. But just because of the as you start, I mean, they always talk about the imposter syndrome and just being
mhm.
new, and you meet people that are always smarter than you. And I'm like, man, like should I be like having these private meetings with the city of San Antonio, or should I be with other executives elsewhere? Should I be the one that's traveling to Brownsville and representing the tech scene and doing stuff down there? It's like I don't know, but it's happening.
Yeah,
It's happening.
and you know, that's the thing, like, especially in tech, you can be one of the smartest people on your team, but there's gonna be somebody that's smarter than you, right? That knows
Yeah,
more about something than you. That's like that imposter syndrome is always an interesting thing, and I grew up in tech, right? My first job was in software engineering and all the way until we started our current company. And so, like, we dealt with that throughout the years, different teams, different people. I think it doesn't matter. I think, you know, with DevSA, you saw it was difficult to find these different events, to find the different communities, and to really get involved with those, right?
yeah,
So I think that's the qualifier, right, to run an organization that solves that problem, right? You experience the problem. We talk about this all the time when we're starting companies and starting organizations. If we can experience the problem, it makes this the path a lot easier. It makes the journey a lot easier, right? So that's really cool. But so you work full time as a developer?
I do.
Okay, and what do you write at work? Like what languages?
Yeah, I mean, so it's a media company. So I've been fortunate where it's a media company, and the clients that I'm working with already have established like systems they use for tracking their data. So most of my work is front end based, a lot of UI based. So I have stayed in my JavaScript ecosystem. So I use React as my main stack. I use Tailwind for my styling. I love integrating motion for some subtle animations, but a lot of it is that the bulk of my connectivity when it comes to forms is all the sales teams that these other clients have, like a Velocity Texas, or I worked on some stuff with MHM now, but it's just connecting to API endpoint. So I kind of have some fun on the creative side. Somebody coined the
Nice.
term creative coding, and it's like, wow, interesting. I love it. But no,
Wait. What is creative coding? I've just heard that today.
yeah,
What
not for
is
me, right?
creative coding?
So I actually heard it as I was meeting. So digital canvas was something that I was on the calendar to launch this year. So as I was going to create art events, of tech events, there's a group in town called AM Architect, and what they do, they're the ones that kind of introduced the term my way. And it turns out that there's a whole nonprofit in Austin called Data Geek, and they have what they call a data lab, and it's just a warehouse, and they got projector screens all around, and they're using some open source libraries, and they shared them with me. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but I mean, some of it's like 3JS. You have animation libraries in the JavaScript space like that. But they're ultimately using code to generate graphics on the screen. They'll integrate a DJ or a live band, and it's happening in real time. This one band, AM Architect, who shout out to Diego and April, if they see this. But what blew my mind with them is one, they're in San Antonio, but two, similar to this little pad you have here, Diego can have some scripts saved to some of these buttons here. So he can push a button and it can automate images from like Midjourney.
Oh,
And
okay.
and he had some stuff scripted with Python, but it's just mind blowing that they were able to use programming languages with some generative AI tooling. I think they also use like Runway, which is like a video to AI prompt service, but they were able to kind of integrate these different tools to create some live background visuals, and they've gotten some gigs with like the orchestra locally. So
Okay.
I know one event they do at least once a month is Confluenza Park. It's somewhere I think in the South Side, but they got this really cool structure, and they just shoot out projectors on there, and they're live coding,
Okay, cool.
creative coding.
So
Who thunk it?
yeah, it's live, it's creative coding. I like it. I'm gonna use that term. So then you kind of transitioned into tech and then saw the need to connect the ecosystem here. And so you started DevSA. What were some of the initial problems that you were solving, and why is it so important that the different groups of tech in the area be connected and be collaborating?
Well, yeah, during my self learning and my studying and just kind of, I mean, you're always. I mean, I always tell folks like developers or programmers, we're just wired differently, and just that constant,
Very true.
the studying, the learning, and upskilling, and just building in general. But I was at a point doing all this remotely, and I was like, I can't be the only one in San Antonio that's doing this. So yeah, I went down some meetup and Eventbrite rabbit holes, and I found some events, and again, most were socials, and I'd go and have a great time, but after the events were over, it's like, well, what happens now? Where's everybody going? There was just nothing that was keeping the conversation moving forward. So that was really how DevSA started. We just started as a Discord, and I created the Discord. I slid into a bunch of people's DMs on LinkedIn. I was like, "Hey, I see you're a developer. Huh? You work at HEB. I'm trying to do this. Do you want to do you want to join in on this?" And that's how we started. What's funny is during that process, some folks are like, who the fuck are you? And I don't click links from strangers. So quit sending me messages. And I'm like, dang. But that's how we started. And we ultimately, and we started there just because that gap of keeping the conversation going, and ultimately we built enough momentum to where we started talking about like, maybe we should enter the meetup space, maybe we should do something, maybe we should be more than just a Discord server. And that's, once we entered that arena, that's when things really took off.
And so that's where you end up with what DevSA is today, where you're co-hosting these events, you're hosting events yourself, you're partnering with these different players in the tech ecosystem,
Yeah.
right? And so what does a how does an what are some of the organizations or the groups that you kind of work with under the DevSA umbrella? And then like how has the tech space kind of been improved since the existence of DevSA?
Yeah. That's a good question. There's a lot of groups. There's literally at least like 14 active groups
Wow.
in the city of San Antonio.
And that's crazy because I knew of like 5,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's where we like as we start focusing on what's next, and we'll talk to that here in a bit. That's something that I personally, as a challenge, as far as the branding and really trying to simplify the process of finding these groups, is what I need to do. Our website's long overdue for a for a makeover and update. But
You're a
yes,
marketing guy. You're a creative
I am.
guy. Why is it overdue for a?
It's the work. It's the workload. It's just that we're. But the beauty is though, it's like because I've been with my company now for 6 months now, so we're finally getting to a point where it's like it's time to activate further what we're trying to accomplish next. But no, some of the groups, so there's definitely a lot, but I would say some of my favorite as far as just unique groups, total vibes, their own thing. They can thrive on their own without DevSA even trying to like say like check out this event. Uh, there's a security group here. It's an ethical hacker security group. It's a San Antonio chapter of DEF CON, a big global conference, but they are a group here in San Antonio. They're actually having an event tomorrow. It's their official 1 year anniversary
Wow.
as a chapter, as a group. And I just love going. It's some of the smartest people I've ever met, a mix of senior working professionals, some folks that are retired that just love to hack and just break stuff and explain what they did and how they did it. It's just a great community. They meet up once a month at Northeast Lakeview College. One of the organizers is an instructor out there in the cybersecurity space. But they're doing their 1 year anniversary tomorrow at the Andy. If anyone knows Caleb and his printing service called Tapped, that's going to be the host for the event there. But outside of them, yeah, Ansley and the Greater Gaming Society, another group where it's just they know who they are, my people. And I've been able to create some really awesome connections for her and her group through some of our partnerships like at UTSA. But yeah, I love the group. I love what they're doing. Totally awesome. And then you just go into your specialty groups. You have you have Christian with AITX. You got Daniel and Richard who are took over Alamo Python. You've got Eddie and what's his name, Brandon from Cam that are now doing Alamo Tech Collective. You got the Geeks, and they had a big rebrand last year. And I think what we started was a big motivator to why they rebranded, because the goal was they felt they were stuck as they were labeled as a social group, a party group, and they were like, we want to be more than that. And it happened. And then who else we got out there? We have UXSA, your user experience group. You have AIGA, your which is more of your designer, more Figma focused group.
What does
Uh,
AIGA stand for?
I
Do you
can
know?
tell you, but there's another fun one. ARDA, I know that one.
ARG.
Alamo Regional Data Analysis, and
Okay.
that's run by Ryan Orsinger and a girl named Sarah, a beautiful lady named Sarah. But they just had their yearly conference probably about 3 weeks ago now, called Spark, and it was a 1 day event filled with talks on data and ethics and how those two worlds are. I guess the state of AI, how it's impacting those two factors. It was a great event, great turnout. And there's a ton. You got your Google developer groups. There's ACMSA. I can't
But
leave
so
out
like
Zachariah.
But so, like, DevSA is kind of involved in some fashion with a large portion of the tech community here in San Antonio, right? Whether that's supporting events, whether it's helping. You guys also have played a role in the recent AI agent showcase that happened here in San Antonio, right? So,
Yeah.
so you're doing a lot of these things. What is kind of like where is DevSA going? What is going to be next for you guys?
That's a good question. It's definitely been a journey to get here. So DevSA, we just hit our 1 year anniversary at the end of April.
Oh,
Pretty much we did our first event the day of the Fiesta Flambeau Parade. So it was like at the end of Fiesta. So we literally are just weeks past our 1 year anniversary. And when I look back to see what we've done, I label year one as the year of being the loudest, the busiest, but it was also a year of just building trust within the community. There's a lot of OGs that don't get talked about enough that were vital players in the tech space in San Antonio before the pandemic hit. They're still here in San Antonio, but they just were turned off and they tuned out with the way the tech, I guess the direction that the tech space went. And it's so funny because when I first met like Charles and not even Charles at Geekdom, even before that, when I gave my first talk about DevSA, which was like days before our first event, uh, again, probably why I'm the last person actually even the face of this group, but I dropped some frustration came out because part of our origin story was like groups in the past would host like Google Cloud events, and we don't gotta tell the story. It's a no story. We don't gotta worry about the F bombs. But yeah, year one was a lot of nonstop motion. So my internal struggle going into year two was I knew I was going to scale back. I held a private event in December for auto organizers. And the goal of that event was for everyone to meet each other, get FaceTime, because I had told the group, the organizers, that DevSA was going to scale back. Because from April to November, we did 14 events. We featured 24 different speakers. It was insane, and I wanted to scale back our schedule for this year and allow the other groups to activate themselves. And if I need to get you a venue done, if I need to create a graphic or a poster for your event done, but I wanted them to collaborate and create events. And the beauty is that's happening. June's coming up. June is scheduled to be the busiest month in the tech space since the pandemic shut everything down.
Wow, really?
June is insanely packed. And the beauty with that is there's not an official single DevSA event happening in the month of June, and this is happening. And the beauty is they're not sales-driven socials. We're talking learning, programming, networking. Like we're following DevSA's core mission, which I think is amazing. But what are we doing next? So the beauty is we've been able to kind of motivate and activate the other groups in the city to kind of continue doing events. What can DevSA do to year two to grow?
Mhm.
I don't want to repeat the exact same thing I did last year. So what can I do differently? And working with the media company I work for and having access to some amazing videographers and storytellers and Strawberry Stacy, social media guru, that's really what I want to focus on. I'm going all in on video, creating programming. We're going to be launch. We haven't made the announcement yet, but early June, we're going to be announcing a partnership with 434 Media, and we're going to be activating DEVSA TV, and we're going to have.
That's exciting.
But the goal is to, by focusing on video, making it easier for people outside of our bubble. Because I just spent 5 days in Brownsville like 3 weeks ago, and I was hanging out with Dr. Lisa Ochoa. And if you guys don't know Dr. Lisa Ochoa, she is a rock star, but she's in the medical space, and she's trying to solve some legit problems in San Antonio, specifically in the South Side, East Side, and West Side. And technology has been a big hindrance. They lose so much time calling insurance companies, people scheduling appointments, and they have a need for automation. But of course, there's so much bureaucracy when it comes to trying to get stuff approved in that medical space. But she had no idea that there was a tech space in the city. She knows that she needs tech. She has an amazing opportunity where there's funding involved. And she's like, I want to use this on tech. And so we're also launching a series called Call to Action, where we can talk to people like a Dr. Lisa Cho. And with the way DevSA is structured, one channel for a whole group, having her or them, the future guests, share their pain points, what they would like to see, and then seeing what the community can do with that and do a follow-up like 90 days later. But
That's really cool. So you'll use like DEVSA TV as a way to kind of highlight the different groups and the things that they're working on and people are struggling with in the tech community.
But even bringing in people outside the bubble. So bringing in people from the medical space, the science space, the robotic space, people that all have connections to tech in different ways, and also telling their stories along with the 14 organizations. Every speaker that organization brings in, spotlighting them and what they're building. So there's so much programming available. There's so many stories to tell. And we also have the people that are at the Velocity Texas and the Methodist Healthcare Ministries and the health cells. And there's just a lot to talk to. And I feel by focusing on video, it's going to allow us to really tell the story of what's happening in the tech space in San Antonio. Yeah, events are needed. Community localization, FaceTime is needed. I'm 100% grateful that I've been able to help push and motivate these groups to kind of fill in this gap so we can step back and focus on a bigger picture. Because if we get more eyes on the DevSA channel, that's automatic eyes to their groups as well. So that's
Are
my goal.
are there plans of like bringing a DevSA to, like Brownsville, so Dev Brownsville or some better name than that, right? Or whatever that looks like.
Spoiler alert, we just haven't mapped it out, but Dev South Texas.
Dev South Texas, that's exciting. And that's kind of where this Dev TV is gonna kind of fall under Dev South Texas, or
Yeah, so
what will
that's
it say?
I haven't made the decision as far as when the rebrand's going to happen.
Hmm.
I've spoken to developers that work at SpaceX in Brownsville. There's developers like there's a tech community there. That's the main reason why I was brought in. Alamo Angels and the other groups there's a 3-year plan to activate the startup space in the Rio Grande Valley.
Hmm.
I was brought in just to kind of get some FaceTime, kind of experience the vibes, but also if there's techie people there, I mean, talk to the techie people. You're the tech guy, Jesse. And I love it. And there's just so many parallels to my upbringing that are happening in that Rio Grande Valley. So I've been able to spend time in Harlingen, Weslaco, and Brownsville, and spend 3 different visits out there. And I'm super excited about that this collaboration. Not so much even bringing events down there. DevSA events are coming. They're going to be more strategic with what we're trying to accomplish,
Hmm.
but there will be speakers from Brownsville, from Monterrey, Mexico, that we're bringing in as part of this whole South Texas triangle that gets talked about.
That's awesome. So like there's some really cool plans for growth and for like the direction of what DevSA is going to become, and the number of people in and around tech that you'll be able to support and kind of highlight.
Yeah, especially with the job market the way it is, I just feel like this is really a great channel to kind of really like, empower, give confidence to developers, especially like that are out of college that maybe have more free time. It's like, I mean, if you get an internship and have a great experience, great, it's do it. But for those that maybe can't land it or struggling to find something, maybe like instead of doing those 100 applications on a LinkedIn or an Indeed, like let's focus on what you can build. Let's focus on the tooling that's available that's makes it easier for you to iterate something quickly. Let's talk to someone in the medical space or the science space. Like, what problems can we solve? I know one thing you had mentioned at Startup Week last week was like even like talking to the local small businesses, like the local communities, like who's the direct channel to the people at the front lines in the city that have their businesses? Like, what are their technology pain points? There's so many problems to solve. And the one thing that developers and programmers may forget, especially they get caught up on tech Twitter or they're just re-spitting out whatever someone else told them is like, hey, stop, think about it, process your skill set, process what you can do, and let's focus on you. And if we can help them make that mental decision, we can tag in our partners like a Geekdom. They do startup boot camps. Geekdom has said that they are waiting for Devastate to do some events here. So Charles and Monica and Nick, I'm sorry it took so long, but Devastate events are coming to Geekdom. But because yeah, these elevator pitches, these pitch decks, this foundational knowledge when it comes to talking about what you built
Hmm.
goes a long way. And it's always so funny because in the beginning, the loudest folks in the community were like, "Don't talk to the geekdoms and the tech blocks and the startups and the venture capital. Fuck those people." And I'm like, I knew that for what we were building, that we can live and thrive in that environment. And Devastate a year later, I think has shown that.
Definitely.
Uh,
And you know what? And you hear that all the time too. Like, the ecosystem is very fragmented here, for sure. But division is rarely the answer. I think the approach that you took, like with DevSA, like kind of creating those bridges and connecting and empowering people and making things more collaborative, I think that is the directions.
Yeah, I think the one thing I've shared is like as long as we don't lose focus on our mission, learning, networking, tooling, programming, as long as we know who we are, we're never going to lose our identity. And I've made sure to structure DevSA where those pillars are there and that DevSA is in a space to continue even after I leave. Because I know I can't be the face of DevSA forever. So just making sure that all the the foundation of what we're doing is easily transferable to the community to keep this going. But DevSA is here to stay. It's an established business entity. It's a nonprofit, and we've got a great team. I've been able to get a team of volunteers. It's just mind blowing that I have folks knocking out tasks like updating calendars, keeping our co-working space available, keeping it open.
So you've got a co-working space
I have a
that's
co-working.
available to your.
Yeah, so that's been a gift. People were like, "What the?" I don't know if I can curse, but I don't know. We were like, "What the
I
fuck?"
think you have a few times already,
I
so
know.
we're past that.
People were like, "What the fuck did he say in that meeting with Geekdom?" It's like I just shared the same story I always share, but they've been an amazing partner. They've gifted us with a space on the sixth floor. For compliance and regulation purposes, we can't keep the doors open for everybody. So what DevSA's done is this Discord that I've talked about, which I need to do a better job of talking about this Discord because all these organizations that I've talked about, every single organization has a dedicated private channel in there. You can easily access any organizer in our Discord, along with Tech Talk and other stuff. But there's a dedicated co-working space channel, and we use that as our digital key. So anyone that wants to access the co-working space just sends a message, and it unlocks the door remotely. And we, with the team of volunteers that we have 5. We keep the doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 7. No daily pass is required. No monthly membership is required. Just come downtown to beautiful Houston Street. I will happily show you all the cool food spots that I've found. And we've got some books. We got some ping pong. We've got 8 tables with 4 monitors. Like it's literally a space for you to learn, maybe see who you can learn from, network with, and ultimately build. I use it as my workspace. I have my Monday and Friday work meetings with the 434 Media team. I have my task for the week. I come over to the co-working space and knock out some tasks. We've got a 1 noise complaint.
Just one
Just
though?
one. So
I mean, that's
luckily,
not bad.
it was our lawyer next door. I apologize to the South Texas business lawyers, but he was like, I'm trying to run a business over here. You turn that music down. I'm like, sorry, sorry.
Yeah, and so you're doing all these things. That's exciting. How can people support DevSA? What is it that you need? How can people get involved?
No. How can people get involved? I need to clean that up. How did I get involved is really just following any one of our channels. We have Twitter X account. We've got Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. I would say that most of our engagement comes from LinkedIn and Instagram. But if you want to be involved, follow any of our channels. All the content gets uploaded, especially as we clean up the messaging and be more strategic with how we're posting. There's going to be much more value in our social channels. Discord, if you don't do it, if you do it, that's where conversations happen daily and it's in real time. I would say that's one way to do it. But as far as how to support, go to an event. I always tell folks as we get older, it's easy to talk yourself into not going to an event. Um, so if you can, love it. But there's so many ways to engage the community. If you see a post from us or one of the other organizations, like it, reshare it, leave a comment. I mean, there's so many ways to participate, and hopefully, with our update that we're launching in June, it's gonna make it that much easier. Because I know it's a bubble. I mean, I have kids. I leave work. I'm dancing with my daughter. I'm talking to other parents, and it's like no one could give a shit about the stuff that I'm doing. I know this is it's we're a unique bubble, but um, we're doing amazing things internally. I have a meeting with Smart SA coming up soon, so just kind of really tuning in and bringing people outside of the bubble in.
Awesome.
I think that's going to be our biggest win for the year is getting people outside in while staying true to the mission. I don't know if I answered your questions.
Yeah,
Zach. I'm
no,
gonna quit talking.
definitely. And so your website, Dev San Antonio?
DevSanAntonio.com. I did buy a new domain that's part of the update.
Okay,
But
what's
for
the
now,
new domain? Can you share that?
Dev San
No?
Antonio. You'll get redirected.
Okay, cool. So devsanantonio.com, you can learn more about what it is that you need, how you can get involved, and the different things that are going on. Yeah.
DevSanAntonio.com/replay 2024. Probably my favorite part of the site. It's a recap of our first year. So you see our accomplishments and a pretty amazing uh, just memory trail of all the events that we did and all the awesome people in the community.
Awesome, cool. So devsanantonio.com/replay 2024. Learn about what they've been up to, everything they've accomplished this year, and why it's so important that you get involved. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Beyond Giving, Jesse.
The Boost Network.
Special thanks to Nonprofits HQ and the Boost Network for making this podcast possible.
Leon!
See you next time.
Thank you, Zach.